It's not Batman Year One from Frank Miller. It's Batman Year 100 from Paul Pope. The deluxe edition from DC. Really good looking. And DC is a bit of improving in the last months, I think, with this shiny cover and back cover, which looks total. Let's show here, and unfortunately glued binding, as they unfortunately used to do with their so-called deluxe books, but otherwise there's very little to complain. And the gutter loss isn't so bad because he doesn't, Pope doesn't use double page spreads. On the first page, a misspelling. It's embarrassing, I think. And I don't know why, when they print these pages just for this book, why don't they leave here a bit more space so that it reads smoothly? I'm a bit picky here, I know, but it doesn't have to be like this, and I don't understand it, because it's nearly in every book that you can see such things. And if you open it up, you see the pencil for this cover picture, and on the back it's the inked version. Paul Pope really did a lot of effort and thoughts into this motorbike, which can be folded together and be hung up to the ceiling like a bed. Here's his Robin, future Robin, like most of the Paul Pope heroes. He has a bit this ethnic Latin American, however, outward appearance. And even Batman looks a bit Latin American, if you ask me. That's interesting. And anyway, a Paul Pope comic is for, first and foremost, always a Paul Pope comic. He has this dirty, gritty, and at the same time very fluid, elegant style, a bit manga-esque, especially in the special effects. And it's always a pleasure to read a book that's drawn by Paul Pope. We are thrown right into in the start into the story, where Batman is chased by some rabid dogs, police dogs, and because of this old cover here, I don't know, but I think that was the cover picture for the old trade. I always thought it's about an old Batman, 100-year plus, senile grouch who has to live in Gotham. I don't know how I came to this opinion, but I was obviously wrong, because this Batman is still at the peak of his abilities. The black in a Paul Pope comic is always very black, and like I said here, manga-esque effects. It's a science fiction comic, sort of, but Paul Pope style, so you don't have too much technology in it, and it's a bit dystopian future Gotham, with corrupt policemen and old houses that instead of new shiny buildings and yeah, even the cars don't look too much science fiction-y. This is the future Mr. James Gordon, and he's obviously the grandson of the Jim Gordon we know. That raises the question: is he the son of crazy James Jr.? Obviously not. He's some kind of a good guy, and it's a bit unclear if the Batman here is, yeah, our Bruce Wayne, or is it the grandson of Bruce Wayne, or who the F we are seeing here. There's a bit of revelation in the end, but even this revelation in the end is very ambiguous, I think. And there's no shiny, glamoury Batman stuff like in the Batman stories that dwell in the life of a rich millionaire who does stuff at night. No, this is a suffering Batman who really has to dig in the dirt to get to the truth, and he has to go into the morgue and pull out the tooth from a dead man to sort of doing his detective thing and so on. A real gritty, gripping detective story, not always maybe as easy to follow as your usual Batman story, especially if you're not so familiar with the way Pope tells a story. But hey, I think it's perfectly readable and really a joy. And Pope leaves some mystery to his stories, some ambiguity, and that is totally his intention. And so there are some questions open after you read the story, but that's totally fine, I think. So, back to the bonus section. We have here some drawings with a motorbike, and especially interesting I thought were the pages where Pope ponders on the costume of, well, the gear of Batman and the clothing and such. And here's a bit of some statements from Pope himself, how he thinks or why he thinks it is important to think about details like shoelaces or the way the clothing works or doesn't work. And here, oops, that's a story I already had in the black and white collection where it's taken from. But for those of you who don't have this collection, you can enjoy some pages from Paul Pope, Batman Paul Pope in black and white, which is fine too. And here's a little story with Robin. Oh, the 100,000th time we have a bit of retelling the origin of Robin, but done in a Paul Pope way, and the way he draws Robin, who was caught by these two goons here from Joker, and the way he tries to break free from them and doesn't excel too much in this regard. It's quite funny, and somehow this story seems to have won an Eisner Award, maybe for the best short story sometime. And I wasn't too fond of this story, especially because, or just because of the story part. The art part is fantastic. And here's another story about Batman in Berlin from 1939. Two things are interesting. First, it is colored by one of my favorite comic book artists, Ted McKeever, but he didn't colored it in a very special way, very flat. Okay, and it's the first story from Pope for mainstream comic, and that's pretty interesting. Story-wise, I have at least two problems with the story. Baruch Wayne is the name of the Bruce Wayne analog in Pope's story. Baruch Wayne lives in Nazi Germany, 1939, and is for the public a rich Jewish millionaire. And that wouldn't have been possible to live as a rich Jewish millionaire in 1939 in Nazi Germany without being pursued, ripped of your money, and he would have been put in a concentration camp. Sad as it is, as it was, but that was the reality, and no worse alibi for doing your Batman job in the night than posing in this manner and painting pictures of all painters in the world in Pablo Picasso style, and this James Gordon analog tries to convince him to paint a portrait of the Führer, of Adolf Hitler. That's quite stupid, and I mean the general premise of a Batman in Nazi Germany, it's not so uninteresting. I would be the first one to read such a story if it takes a bit more the historical background seriously. But this is just a little part of this great book here. And if you like panels like these, the art is astonishing. Here. And there are bits and pieces somewhere he says, yeah, like a bat out of hell. I mean, quoting Meatloaf, it starts the soundtrack in my head. I spare you me singing Meatloaf in this video. So, thanks for listening to my rambles. Oops. Oh, I don't want to kill this book. So, thanks for watching. Goodbye.